Wow. Talk about a really effective movie. I'm sorry, guys. This movie affected me in such a big way. I mean, it just affected me in such a huge way. I personally can't even relate to it, and it still affected me in such a huge way. And, yeah, so, this is gonna be another classic movie for you guys, and, this time I'm going to be reviewing to you the 1999 supernatural drama classic, The Green Mile. Now, The Green Mile was a movie that I was planning on not reviewing to you guys this year. I was planning on reviewing it next year, but I decided to watch it. But I got this this 2-pack with Forrest Gump and The Green Mile. And I knew that The Green Mile, I wanted that to be one of the last reviews I made because, I mean, it was a very effective film, it was a very long film, and it's a very, in my opinion, overlooked film. Not a lot of people talk about The Green Mile, and they should, because The Green Mile, I finally checked it out. The Green Mile is an absolute masterpiece, in my opinion. I love this movie. It is probably the saddest movie I've ever watched in my life. It is the saddest movie ever. It hits you in all the right places. It does what it is supposed to do. And it is by far my favorite Stephen King film. Definitely. By far my favorite Stephen King film. Let's just get to what The Green Mile is about. The story of The Green Mile is very interesting, actually. We see this guy in like a nursing home in 1999. His name is Paul. And he's crying while he's watching this film, while he's watching the film Top Hat. And his elderly friend, is like, well, why are you doing this? And basically, it reminded him of when he was a prison officer in charge of death row inmates at, when he was a prison officer. Basically, then we go to 1935, where Paul is working as a death row, corrections officer, death row corrections officer. And one day there's this guy there named John Coffey, played brilliantly by Michael Clarke Duncan, God rest his soul. He is this very giant man. He's also black, and he has been convicted of raping and killing 2 young white girls and because of this he has arrived on death row. So yeah, that's kind of like, they think that he's a normal guy. However, as they start to, as Paul starts to see him more, he starts to realize that he has very big John has a lot of healing powers because Paul had this urinary tract infection. And one day, John touches, where his bladder would be, basically, and it cures his urinary tract infection. So this starts to basically make Paul realize that he has incredible healing powers, and the question is, did he actually kill, the 2 young girls? We don't know. Now, there's also this other thing going on with this guy, Percy, who is, this other guy with a very fierce temper. He's been working in the death row. Nobody really likes him, and there's stuff going on with him as well. But that's pretty much the plot of The Green Mile. I mean, it's a very hard plot to talk about, very hard movie to talk about, especially after you've seen it. I mean, I seriously cried while watching this movie. I'm not afraid to admit that. Let's just get to the acting, though. Our main star here is Tom Hanks, and he is absolutely fantastic in this movie. I mean, his role is not as good as this movie, Forrest Gump. However, this is his second best performance, definitely. By far his second best performance. The emotion that he put into this performance was amazing. You could see how much he cared for John Coffey, how much he really wanted him, how much he thought John Coffey was this regular guy, and you really cared for his character. You really cared so much about his character, and his character was just so interesting, and his character was so well done, and just Tom Hanks did a great job in the movie, as usual. David Morse played Brutus Howell, and I thought he was very good as well. He was definitely very good in the movie. He was one of the prison officers. Bonnie Hunt played Paul's wife, Jan, and you could see that she really wanted everything to go right for Paul. She could see that, what they were dealing with here with John was a miracle. She really wanted everything to work out well for Paul. She was there for Paul. I really liked her acting in the movie. She was definitely very, very good. Really good acting from her. But by far the best in this movie is Michael Clarke Duncan as John Coffey. Steals the show. Steals the show. First of all, rest in peace, Michael Clarke Duncan. He was an amazing actor. But Michael Clarke Duncan was nominated for Best Supporting Actor for this movie. He definitely deserved it because he is fantastic in this movie. I mean, you cared so much for his character. You see very early in the movie, he is a very innocent guy. He is everything a gentle giant should be. You know, he is the definition of a gentle giant. You know, he's not rude, he's not malicious in any way. He has these healing powers, and his character was just so interesting to watch, you know, his character. I thought his character was just so interesting in this movie. I was really into his character in the movie, and I was really looking forward to seeing, I was really into his character and everything. He definitely did an amazing job in the movie. Just by far, he was the best in the movie. Just by far. Especially towards the end of the movie, oh my god, it hits you. When something happens at the end of the movie, it just hits you. And I'm not gonna get that, we'll get to that when we get to spoilers, but, I'm just gonna say it hits you. Doug Hutchison as Percy, you hated this guy. You hated this guy like anything. He was the prison officer that took everything way too far. He had no idea what he was doing. Everybody hated him. He was, he took things way too far. I thought his character was definitely very interesting. He was sort of a character where you didn't know where he was going to go. And his character was just portrayed in like a very interesting way, in my opinion. And I thought his character was definitely very interesting. I mean, really, he was a very interesting character, and I really enjoyed his acting in the movie. And the only other two people I guess we'll talk about is Sam Rockwell as Wild Bill. He was basically this terrible, evil prisoner. The definition of an evil prisoner. I mean, he is everything you don't want to be in a prison. He is like a serial killer. He's like this horrible guy. Great acting from him. Great acting. He was great. And then also Michael Jeter as Dell. His character, well, he's not in the movie for that long. He is very important because he has like this pet rat, and the rat's very interesting in the movie, very important in the movie, which we'll get to. But definitely very good from him. All the acting in this movie is also fantastic. Also, the guy that played the older Paul, who was he? Davis Greer, very good. I thought he was very good in the movie as well. So let's get to the directing of this movie. The director of this movie is Frank Darabont, and by the way, this is based on a book by Stephen King, and it's definitely evident here. I mean, this is everything a supernatural drama should be. I mean, in my opinion, it's actually better than The Shawshank Redemption. It is. Shawshank Redemption is great, don't get me wrong, but this movie is just, it's better than The Shawshank Redemption, in my opinion. But Frank Darabont, he did an amazing job directing this movie. I mean, it's a movie that just, it hits you, as I said, it hits you in all the right places. It really does. He also did The Shawshank Redemption, so he knew what he was doing here. Definitely. He knew what he was doing because he did The Shawshank Redemption, and he did exactly what The Shawshank Redemption did with this movie. However, what he did differently with this movie was he made this more of a sadder experience. And definitely, I think that's one of the reasons why this movie works so well, was because of the tone he set for the movie. The tone of the movie is very dark, very sad, very, just really sad. And just, the tone he set in the movie was perfect. He was right on with the tones in this movie. Absolutely fantastic directing from him. He was great. The screenplay was, very good. The writing in this movie, oh my god, the writing. Writing was so good in this movie. I thought the writing was absolutely fantastic. So good. The score is a very memorable score, in my opinion. The main tune, the the main tune, very memorable there. Just really memorable in one scene particularly. The cinematography in this movie, oh my god, most of this movie is very dark, and when I say dark, not just like the tone is dark, but like the actual scenes are like very darkly, very low lighting, and the way they do that are very well done, the cinematography. You really got this, like, ominous, dark feel. And it just like Shawshank Redemption, it makes you never, this movie makes you never want to be a corrections officer. That's what this movie does, Shawshank Redemption makes you never want to go to prison. Green Mile makes you never want to be a corrections officer. And they set that so well. The cinematography definitely it's kind of its own character in the movie, because it's, like, so dark, and it gives you this eerie feeling, and it's so good the way they did cinematography, definitely. The editing was fantastic. This movie is over 3 hours. It is 188 minutes long, but it went by like that. When it was done, I was like, it's already over? I mean, I was so into it, and I didn't even realize that it was already over. That's how effective this movie was. I didn't even realize it was over by the time it was over. I mean, that's how effective it was, really. That's how effective it was. Now, this movie did get a few nominations. It didn't win anything, because this did come out the same year that American Beauty came out, so American Beauty, of course, won the award for Best Picture. Do I still think American Beauty deserves it? Yes, definitely. This is the second best, though. It's not as good as American Beauty. Not as good as American Beauty, but still a really good movie. As I said, Clarke Duncan was nominated, the Best Picture, Best Sound Mixing, Best Adapted Screenplay. It did not win any of those things. However, Clarke Duncan did win, I believe, a Golden Globe. I believe it did get nominated for something like Golden Globes or something like that. Don't quote me on that, but I believe that's true. It did win People's Choice. Yeah, he was nominated for a Golden Globe. He did not win the Golden Globe, though. But, yeah, so the movie was very successful, and it definitely is a movie that I feel should be a lot more popular. Now, let's get to the spoilers in the movie. The spoilers is what makes this movie so sad, really. The spoilers are so sad. If you don't want to cry, don't listen to the rest of this video. If you don't want spoilers, and you haven't seen Green Mile, don't watch Justice Review. Alright, so, of course, we have talked about the biggest part, where we find out that he actually did not kill those two girls. He did not rape and kill them. It was Wild Bill that did it, and he basically, John Coffey was trying to heal them, but it was too late, and it's just so sad, because, because he was there, he was basically, John Coffey was just trying to heal them, and he was the definition of in the wrong place at the wrong time. I mean, really, he was. Really, he was in the wrong place in the wrong time. I mean, really, he was definitely in the wrong place in the wrong time. And because of that happening, definitely, that is why what ended up happening to him. That's why it ended up happening to him. That's why he ended up, that's why he ended up not, why is my lighting so badly? Oh my god. That's why he ended up, convicted, and, he ended up getting the electric chair, and it's just so sad, that moment where he's in that electric chair. It is so, so sad, because it's like, if only they would have known that he didn't do it, if only they didn't know that, if only somebody could have stopped him, if only Paul could have told somebody, but Paul knew it was too late. He knew that what they had to do was what they had to do, because he was told by a jury that he was supposed to be executed, so they had no choice but to execute him. And, there's that moment where it's, the reason that it's the most saddest death is, I think, because of the way it's portrayed. I mean, the way it's portrayed is in a very, very sad way, in my opinion. I don't know why my lighting is so bad. Okay, something is wrong with my lighting, and I can't figure it out. I'm sorry, guys. Something is wrong with my lighting. Hang on one second. That should be better. But yeah, basically, what ended up happening was that he, of course, did end up, getting executed. And the reason it's the saddest death, in my opinion, is just the way it's portrayed. You really don't want this guy to be executed. You want everything to work out for him. Oh my god, my lighting is terrible. You really wanted everything to work out for him, but you know that it couldn't work out for him. You know it was just too late for it to work out for him, and because of that happening, that's why it was so sad, and that's why this movie did make me cry. I'm not afraid to admit it did make me cry. I mean, that scene, especially the scene where he's like, don't put that thing over me, don't put me in the dark. I mean, that's why Clarke Duncan's performance in this movie is so memorable. That's why this movie is so memorable, in my opinion, because of that last final scene where he is executed. I mean, really, you get teary-eyed, and it's so sad because you have these people there, you have that family basically saying, I hope he dies, I hope he feels the pain, and they don't even know that he wasn't the one that did it. Definitely, that's what was so big about the movie, is that they don't even realize that it was not him that did it, and that is why this is the saddest death in movie history, in my opinion. It's really the saddest death. It really is. The other thing to talk about, of course, at the end of the movie, we do find out, we do go back to, Paul in the future, and we do realize why, the present, and we do find out why Paul was crying, because the last moment he had with John before he died was watching Top Hat with him, and that's why he was so affected by that movie, because of him watching Top Hat with him, he was so affected by it, and that's pretty much why he was so affected by it, was because of the way, because that was the last moment he had with John, before John died, and it was just so sad the way that worked out. And, of course, then at the end we find out that basically because this happened, the rat has lived. Paul is kind of worried that he's never gonna die because he has outlived everyone, including Elaine, the girl he was talking to. And the way the movie ended was just such an effective way for the movie to end. The way they ended the movie was perfect, in my opinion. Really, that was such a great way to end the movie. The way they end it was absolutely fantastic. Just really good, in my opinion. Really, absolutely fantastic. And that's why this movie is so good. And that's why this movie definitely did affect me in the way that it did. It is such a memorable movie. It's a movie that a lot of you need to check out. I also forgot to say, this movie does have quite an intense few scenes. There's this one scene where Percy does not wet the sponge, and basically that guy was set on, fire. That was so hard to watch. That was, the craziest scene in the movie, in my opinion. And it really just shows you what the Green Mile is. If you guys don't know what the Green Mile is, basically what the Green Mile is your death. It's when you die. That's where you're gonna go, is the Green Mile. That's when you die. That's what the Green Mile is. It's basically, as I said, when you die, that's the Green Mile. That's what happens to you, is that you die and you go to the Green Mile, and that's how the movie ended. The way the movie ended, with him not knowing if he was gonna, how much longer he's gonna live, that was a great way to end the movie, in my opinion. But definitely, The Green Mile is a classic. All of you need to check it out. It is an amazing movie. Such an effective movie. Definitely a movie that I recommend all of you check out. You will definitely cry to this movie, even if you don't think you're going to. I hardly cry at anything. I'm not kidding. I hardly cry at any movie. Yes, I get affected by them, but I hardly cry at anything. So, The Green Mile made me cry. That is extremely surprising. This is the first movie to ever make me cry. But yeah, guys, that's my review of The Green Mile. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Now, let me just tell you guys, 2 movies left for classic movie reviews. My next classic movie that I'm going to be reviewing to you is actually the classic movie that I've wanted to see the most out of any classic movie that I've wanted to review to you guys. You definitely are not going to want to miss it, because it is definitely a classic and a movie that I'm sure all of you love. So definitely stick around for that. That's it for my review. Hope you guys enjoyed it, and I'll see you guys in the next video, which will be for another classic movie review, which I'm really looking forward to reviewing too. So I'll see you guys for that. Okay, bye.